What's going on, everyone? Yeah, gonna keep everyone up to date here. Now we have Kingston. Yeah, if you didn't know, SSDs are over there as well. They're now warning people that the shortage will get worse, not next year. Well, yeah, next year because we're in December, in the next 30 days. So starting off in 2026, it's going to be interesting to see how CES reveals things along with what Microsoft plans to do for 2026. And their, direct. Because the Magnus is kind of screwed for any manufacturing if it planned on launching in 2027. I mean, what you guys think about this? All right, same thing with Steam Machine, because right now, like, they're both in the same ballpark of getting royally screwed. I know people will probably be more excited for the Steam Machine because we got Half-Life coming with it. Or you can just get Half-Life on Steam, regardless. I think it would be okay. I don't think Half-Life necessarily has to get delayed, but if Valve wanted to launch Half-Life with the Steam Machine as a combination, and that's going to get delayed because the Steam Machine is being affected, then yeah, that sucks. Because I don't want to wait on Half-Life 3 if I can get it on Steam and then they launch a Steam Machine bundle later, which I think, Valve, if you're affected by this, what you should do is just go ahead and launch Half-Life 3, because people are going to buy it mostly there anyways, and then still put the Steam Machine bundles, because they're still going to want to get the Steam Machine. But I'm not going to tell them what to do, but I'm just saying, I think that would be an alternative, but I know they kind of wanted it all probably to work in synchronicity, you know what I mean? And maybe have some way to get it on the Steam Deck, like maybe like a certain way with certain, setups, because there's all sorts of ways to customize that little device. But when it comes to the Xbox Magnus, I mean, yeah, you would think you would start thinking about that type of stuff right now. And I'm telling you right now, with all these signs, I think Microsoft should just bite the bullet and wait till close to PlayStation 6. Like, I think 2028. Like, because otherwise, you're just going to be getting screwed and they're not going to subsidize, just like Valve is not going to subsidize. And the reason why I say this is because of the 30% profit margin. Do you know how much they're going to be charging people? Plus, considering that when it comes to Satya, they're talking about data centers and AI and trying to find a way to now make Copilot useful. And he even says they need even more data centers, they need more electricity. So I don't see the Magnus being in any good ballpark right now. Definitely the state that Xbox is in. Guys, it's going to have to get pushed back even further, because it's not about the release date being even 2027, but it's about getting the parts together and building it and buying a ton of them and mass manufacturing after that with all of that. You're going to have to push back the manufacturing gathering. So that pushes back everything else. You see what I mean? It's not like they need to make a ton of them compared to like launching a new generation, like they're getting ready to compete against Sony, because I think it's going to be a hardcore luxury optional device, but it is going to be expensive. I do not see this being cheaper than like $1,300, $1,400. I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to work that way. I think it's going to be in the $1,500 range ballpark, minimum. But the way this is looking too, it can stretch farther out than that. And like I said before with the Steam Machine, it uses SSD. So right when we were just making that memory video, then here comes them saying, not necessarily for them, but just the SSD shortage is going to get worse in the next month. That quick. So we're going to be getting some answers soon in the next 30 days. 2026 at the beginning is going to start off nuts. And I think gaming in 2026 is going to be amazing from a software perspective. But when it comes to hardware, maybe subscription pricing and all that, yeah, it's going to suck, because I do not see them only looking for ways to make money on hardware, but also looking at what else do we have to do to make up for all this. And we could be thinking about more games being 70 that were never 70, some games being 80 that weren't going to be 80, and subscription models getting more expensive. I mean, they're going to have to find something, or reducing down storage too. Valve could even reduce that 2 terabyte down the way that Sony reduced down on PlayStation. They're going to start finding ways, I'm telling you, because they said that it will not subsidize. So with all this coming in and taxing on them, what do you think they're going to do? Does this make sense? So let's get into this. Let's read some comments real quick. Down here it says, game dev need to start optimizing for HDD soon. I mean, there's going to have to be some type of adjustment for sure. But like I said, the positive thing about this, like I said in my other video, is that developers are definitely going to have to start thinking about stepping up their optimization game. Unreal Engine needs to get better now. Every dev needs to really stop leaning on AI and really realize what it takes to survive in this next 2 years, because it's going to be nuts. You will comply until It will get worse. Try every minute. They're saying, huh, yeah. Oh my God, Kingston SSDs are garbage. Anyways, that's what people are saying. They want us to own nothing. Scam. I hate shortages. Like I said, there's some manipulation here. Guess who's going to have the worst quarter of their entire career? Huh. Now going over here, let's read what it says. The modern day SSD business is divided into two main perspectives. We see this, right? It's divided into two main perspectives. Some predict that NAND flash shortages will ease, depending on the data center and all that other stuff, while others speculate that the situation will worsen. Kingston belongs to the latter group, with the company's data center SSD business manager, Cameron Carndall, discussing this on the Full Nerd Network podcast. According to him, the NAND flash storage is expected to significantly... Oh man, this sucks. Let me zoom in for you guys. Is expected to significantly worsen in the next 30 days. Yes, significantly. This just said it will get worse. This says significantly. This is more of a detailed report. And remember what we were talking about when it comes to SSDs compared to memory. If you guys don't understand, because not everybody watched that video, obviously, is that the SSD problem can be worse because they don't have the OEM third-party aspect to also help out. That's literally where you're going to be getting it at. That's what they were trying to tell people. Leading to an increase in SSD prices from current levels already. In 2025 alone, Kingston reports that NAND flash prices have surged by 246. 246%. You know, I gotta tell you, guys, remember what we used to talk about, like, you know, $5 increases, $10 increases. Oh man, it went up 20%. These guys are taking it to another mile. Remember when people used to think that it was about consoles and trying to say how PC was so much more matching consoles, and that's all thrown out the window now. They're jumping past 30, 40, 246%. Same thing with the RAM. Absolutely nuts. I'm telling you, this is demonic level retardation to me. Like I can't take these people serious. This is manipulation at the highest degree. No, sir, man. Nah, man. This is going way too far. From the first quarter, on top of like the brain cells of these people thinking that they're going to chase AI this much and literally just ruin everything. This is what I call trying to reach the peak of being greed and not realizing you're about to come down. Super Saiyan speed crashing into the ground. It's gonna pop. This is too much. From the first quarter until now, with 70% of that increase occurring in the last 2 months. This indicates that many price hikes have already began integrated into the supply chain. They're already going ahead and doing it. They don't even know if look, they're doing this without even thinking about the bubble popping. You know how like sometimes tariff stuff comes and then they just go ahead and jack it straight way up? We talked about this before with like the 150% and all that. This situation is actually worse to me, way worse. Considering that it is their fault that they want to chase all this while thinking that it's all going to work for them and that AI is just going to just do everything they want and they can just sit back and everything's going to be fine. When you saw that 70% failure yesterday in that video, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but it said that it has a 70% failure rate. Like it ain't even there yet, and you're going this far. That's insane to me. So Edward Chrysler, the PR manager of Sapphire, advised PC gamers and potential buyers not to rush into panic buying. He stated, "The good news is I don't think the real pain we're experiencing now and for the next 6 months or so will last much longer than that. I hope so." However, he also highlighted that the main challenge is the uncertainty of the situation. I swear this has to be a bubble that needs to pop. This uncertainty is causing OEMs to increase NAND flash contracts. Yeah, because they have to be contractors. Well, where no one besides NAND flash manufacturers can predict what is exactly going on in the supply chain and just how long this massive demand will outpace supply. Yeah, you can't give nobody a 100% answer to this. You just can't. because you do not know what's going to happen with more data center feeding in the next 6 months. And whatever else NVIDIA is going to unveil on top of Google, on top of Apple wanting to step in, Samsung's already doing what they're doing. Microsoft's going to want to do something else too. And then you got just other things going on. You just do not know, guys. No one is immune to the shortage. Exactly. And we know who's going to be getting top dog supply. The people who have the most money, and those mega corps and people with billions and trillions of dollars. And the good old spinning rust, commonly known as hard disk drives, is another component affected by the increasing demand for shortage during the AI boom, which is not benefiting the consumer at all. Reports indicate that negotiations for the fourth quarter of 2025 concluded with traditional HDD prices rising by about 4% quarter over quarter. Not just 4%, but quarter over quarter, marking the largest increase in the past 8 quarters. So what's that 8 quarters? It's 32%. It's not just NAND flash, which accounts for 90% of the bill of material costs for traditional SSDs, but rather every available storage bit is impacted. Everything you could think of, and even the next gen stuff like M.2 and all that, they want to go past all that. Everything. Anything that you think that's coming out, it's all being affected. I'm telling you, even cell phones are being affected big time. The mobile market's going to get hit massively. And we haven't been talking about that, but it's going to happen. I even read an article about them going back down to 4 gigabytes and stuff like that. And you don't think they're going to try to chew you on the RAM for laptops now too, like they did before? Oh yeah, man, you're going to start seeing that a lot now. And this is just bad because what this means is that the AI shortcut bubble that you've been seeing with NVIDIA has to pop for developers. They have to now realize that you need to start making games that are actually really good video games that can be optimized at lower specs. And you know you could do it, but you just weren't doing it. There was a lot of AI shortcuts. So the specs that people have now, I can say the only positive thing for that is that you're going to be getting benefited more than people that have the higher specs, where you're not going to even be needing that. Obviously, you'll have more than what you need, but they're going to have to lower some things down, maybe temporarily. But the video game is good. Who cares? But just in general, I mean, we now have the idea that the hell right now is definitely SSD shortage and memory shortage with the AI feed in data centers. And it is just ruining everything. But what I think this can do as a blessing in disguise until this bubble pops is making developers be better at optimizing and developing video games and getting off of that AI shortcut and realizing this cannot comply right now. And every publisher should be making this known to developers right now across the world. It's a serious thing. Like you have to really think about that. And will this affect next gen consoles? I think what the affection is going to be the delay, not necessarily the technology. It just means that developers are going to have to think about their engines and think about the way they want to demand requirements for games and for other things that you're developing on when it comes to maybe photoshopping and all other sorts of stuff. But I think more than anything, obviously the video game industry, which is pretty much the biggest industry in the world, damn near, is very important, definitely when it comes to mobile aspect as well too. And knowing how to design that, if you're going to be launching phones and reducing that down, you're going to have to adjust around that. This is why I say, even Phil Spencer was talking about this, engine scaling is very important. Now look at this, engine scaling has to be extremely important. It's not about the highest demand for the most expensive cards anymore. And it should have never been like that from the beginning. It needs to be from the lowest denominator all the way up, then reaching the highest over time, so that you could have the biggest pull and biggest support. It's the only intelligent thing to do in that aspect. You guys see what I'm saying? Like, should be a blessing for developers to get better and optimize better. And when this bubble pops, which I know it's going to, you need to be ready. And then do not do anything dumb. Realize what made you become a better developer. Because this is the opportunity for you to do that. Your industry's still going to be fine. It's the consumer that has to worry about this more than anything. And people who can't afford anything because food is so ridiculous. And you need that every single day. And that ain't, oh man, that needs to be solved more than anything. But I kind of wanted to update you guys on this. So now we know what's going on. It's good that Kingston said something because everybody wants a window to know what the hell's going on. How fast is this going to happen? Or is this going to be something later in 2026? No, it's happening soon. We see this. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this. This all sucks. Hopefully this crashes soon. Later, guys.